We are East Coast Horror Group, myself and Mike. We're going to be bringing you many of these wonderful question and answer sessions throughout the weekend. So make sure you check us out, stick around. You might learn something. Imagine that. But obviously the reason you were all here today is to see this brilliant man, Mr. Vernon Wells. How are you, Vernon?
I'm very good. In fact, what can I say? I was just quite amused by the photograph behind me because I'm very involved with wolves, as most people know. And that particular dog that's with me passed away about 9 months ago. So as I walked past it, I had to give him a kiss just because he was a very special animal, one of my buddies, so to speak. But so I do appreciate having him behind me because he makes me look good.
He does. It's a beautiful animal, absolutely.
He's gorgeous. Was. Not anymore.
What else have you done with wolves? Let's talk about that a little bit.
Sorry?
What else as far as wolf?
Oh, we have a wolf and wolf dog rescue. California has a rule, or a law actually, that states that if you own a wolf dog or a full-blood wolf, that if they get taken to a shelter, they're euthanized within 48 hours. Which we find just a little bit strange, but that's California. So we try to rescue as many of them as we can so that they don't get euthanized. So we have 29 at the moment on the property. We just bought $1.5 million property that we're going to have about 50 on. So we're really happy.
So if somebody wanted to donate to your cause, what would they go to do that?
If anybody wants to donate, I'm actually selling photographs on my desk as well as my photographs of my films. Picture of me with 2 of the wolves for Apex, which is, as you probably know, the apex predator is the wolf, so it's called Apex Wolf. And all the money that I get from selling those photos goes into our general fund for their health and care. So if you want to buy a photograph, I'd be more than happy to sell it to you. Now that we've done the sales spiel, we can actually get on with the other stuff, which is the real stuff. My name's Vernon Wells. I'm an actor, and I'm very proud to say that I have been very, very lucky in my life and my career. And my last film that I finished about 2.5 months ago was my 176th film.
Wow.
So I feel very blessed.
So what drew you to acting?
Say what, who?
What drew you into the entertainment industry? What made you want to be an actor?
Oh, I never wanted to be an actor. My mother was a very successful songwriter in Australia, and I got into the music business. I sort of inherited all her genes, so to speak, and none of my siblings had any interest in anything to do with entertainment. And I sang in bands and things when I was younger, some very successful bands. I grew up with a young man who formed Rose Tattoo, Gary Anderson, who big heavy metal band. Gary and I grew up two blocks apart, and we sang and played and did all that kind of crap when we were young, and we both sort of at one stage separated, and he went off to do his filing of his teeth and cutting out of parts of his ears and things and screaming and yelling, and I decided that I really enjoyed doing middle-of-the-road rock and roll because filing my teeth really didn't appeal to me that much. And then the funny thing was, when I got the role in Mad Max, Gary said to me one day, "I'm going to do a Mad Max 2. And I went, "You're 5'1", Gary. What are you going to be, a toadstool? Seriously, dude." And he actually did Thunderdome. So it was quite funny that we both grew up together, we both did our thing, and then he went into, he did Thunderdome and I did Road Warrior. But I never wanted to be an actor. I always wanted to just do what I was doing, which was in the band. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll seemed to be my preferred profession. But through circumstance, not of my own choosing, I got convinced to start doing acting. I did a lot of work as an extra slash stuntman. Being born on a farm, I rode horses, I drove anything that had wheels, I could shoot anything you could give me. I knew how to sword fight. All of that kind of stuff, which became sort of my go-to thing. So if there was a series or something being done where they had horses being ridden, I would always get a job riding horses. Or if there was driving of trucks or anything, I could do that. Never wanted to be in front of the camera as per se an actor. Not in the least did it intrigue me. George Miller, on the other hand, had a whole different idea. He decided that he wanted me to do Mad Max. I really didn't want to do the film because I didn't think I could do the role, number one. Number two, it meant that I had to be an actor. And it was my first film. But no matter how much I told George I couldn't do it, he didn't listen. He just decided that I was the character and that was the end of it. If he hadn't persisted, if he hadn't thought, I wouldn't be here. I mean, he launched my career. He showed me the path that I was going to follow, whether I wanted to or not. And for that, I have great admiration for him, not only as a director, but as a friend and a wonderful human being, which he still is. I was with George 2 months ago in Japan for the opening of Fury Road, and he's exactly the same. We went out to dinner. He walked on stage while we were doing something like this. We didn't know he was coming. He walked on stage. Everybody that was on stage got a handshake. He spoke to them. He knew their names. He came up to me, gave me a big hug, and had a chat to me about everything that was going on. And my wife, who he adores, was sitting in the front row, and he looked out over the audience and she waved to him. And he walked off the stage, across the floor to the first row, and picked her up in a bear hug and gave her a big kiss and talked to her for about 3 minutes and put her down. I mean, this guy doesn't have to do anything, for goodness sake. He's made some of the most iconic movies that have ever been made. He could be the biggest a-hole that God ever created if he wanted to, and people would accept it. But he's not. He's the most genuine, sweet, normal human being that you could ever meet. And I just hope that I have a really little bit of that in me while I'm doing my career, because I think that's what it's all about. Not being an a-hole, not being a smart ass, being a genuine human being that is blessed with doing something that you love. That's how I got into acting.
It's a good story. So one of my favorite films that you've been in is Commando. And I'm sure you get asked about it a lot. Do you have any memories that you can share with the crowd about being on set or being with Arnold on that movie?
No, seriously. Actually, Arnie was great. So was everybody I've worked with. Mel was wonderful. I think Mel is a brilliant director and actor. Arnold was a really great guy to be around. He was like the little brother you have that's really tall, that's a pain in the butt. That every so often you just want to take him outside and kick his ass, but you know if you try, he's going to whip the crap out of you. He was like that, but he was fun to work with. I think my fondest memory of that particular film was when I get if you know the film, I get a pipe thrown through me. And Arnold actually did it. He was standing on top of a ladder with this 6-foot pipe in his hand. And it was on a very, a piece of fishing line. was the thing that was going to go down till it hit me in a pad that I had in the middle of my chest. And all I remember was that Arnold was standing at the top of this ladder with this thing in his hand, and he just looked down at me and he went, "This is not going to hurt very much," ha ha ha, and threw it. I had a bruise for 4 weeks on my chest where this thing went into the pad that I had. I mean, it put me back about 3 feet into the thing behind me. It was like, son of a... Yeah, that was my endearing memory of doing that film.
So talk about some of the physical conditions that you had to go through filming Mad Max 2.
Contrary to popular belief, I froze my butt off in Mad Max. It was so effing cold. They actually called me, and a lot of people know this, it's been reported a few times, they called me Barometer Bum. Every time the cheeks of my butt went purple, they stopped filming and put us somewhere where it was warm. That's how they figured out how cold it was. It was like, oh, Vernon's ass has gone purple, let's move on into the trailer. It was a whole lot of fun. And I had this uncanny habit of grabbing everything that was steel and sticking to it. You know how when you put your tongue on the thing, me, we're going to go over. Oh, hello, stuck to the post again. Continuously, I had all of the skin off the insides of my hands was gone. It was just unbelievable that no matter where it was, if I was near it, I would rest on it or grab it. Actors, they don't have brains, they just have ability.
So, obviously you played, you were in Power Rangers. You had a broad fan base, and it's just such a unique way to present any not even children's shows, but just shows in general, the colors, just the way it's shot. Tell us about being able to be a part of the Power Rangers, and maybe some of the interactions you had with more of the Rabbit fans when you come to places like this.
Power Rangers was interesting. I had done a film, and Koichi, who is now the executive producer and directs most of that series, was the stunt coordinator on the film I was on, so we got to know each other. When they were casting for that role, I got asked if I would come in for an interview. And I was actually in Las Vegas working at the time, so I had to fly back and go to the interview. And when I walked into the room, there was basically 24 people that I had seen on television every day that I watched TV. These were people out of series and all that. And I'm looking at them thinking, what the hell am I doing in this room? Seriously, these people are all television stars. I do movies. So I kind of walked in with that attitude, did my audition, and left. And 2 days later, I got asked to come back from Las Vegas again for another interview, and I walked into the room, and there was a lot less television stars than me. So I did the interview again and left, went back to Las Vegas. I was there for 3 days. I got asked to come back to Los Angeles. It's like, guys, this is costing me a lot of money, you know, flying backwards and forwards from bloody Las Vegas. They wanted me to do a final interview for the executive director because he had not been able to come to any of the preceding sessions. So I went in, and there was 3 people, me and 2 others. I did the interview, and in the room was Koichi, as well as the executive producer. So I did the interview and turned around to walk out. Koichi said, I hope you're not going back to Las Vegas. And I said, yeah, I'm leaving in about 2 hours. He said, well, I'd get a return ticket. And they gave me the role. I really had no idea what Power Rangers was, by the way. I seriously didn't. Had no clue. It was an interesting experience for 2 reasons. Number one, the kids that were in the show Once they found out who I was, they all wanted to pee up the wall higher than I could. So it was this competition whenever we were working together, which made the series really good. They were always trying to outdo me, which was a lot of fun. The other thing was that once the writers discovered that they had two actors in the show, two extremely good actors, they started writing these incredibly adult scripts. It went from being a kid's show to being a kind of adult show. If you ever watch Time Force, they trod a very fine line between porno and kids. Because some of the things I got away with in that show, I'll give you an example. There's a scene where my daughter, and everybody decided that I was having an affair with my daughter anyway, and then I was having an affair with the Pink Ranger. I was like, God, I'm having a really good time in this show. My daughter walks up to me and she's got her finger up like this and she says, Daddy, and I go, yes dear. And she said, that mean Pink Ranger just broke my nail. And I go, let me see. Daddy will fix that. Watch the show, it's in it. We thought it was a joke, that it would be cut out. No. So you have me sucking on the finger of my daughter in a kid's television show. How close to porn can you actually get before it goes over the line? So yeah, it was a great time I had for 12 months in that series. I did things. It's the only series that they did that the whole cast is still together. 3 weeks ago I did a convention and the whole cast was at it. And every one of us still love each other. We go out to lunch, we go out to dinner. Erin Cahill, who was the Pink Ranger, is one of my best friends. She goes to my house all the time. Michael Capon, one of my good friends. We all stuck together for some reason, and none of the other cast did. There was just something special about that cast and what we were doing, and we've always remained really close. And I think it showed in the actual series because it's one of the highest rating series they had in 21 years. So that I can be proud of as well. We made that work, and they made 5 films from the series, which is more than they ever did with any other series. So what the hell? I don't care. Kiddie porn, yeah.
So one of my personal films from favorite films from the 80s was Inner Space. So talk about that film if you could, and talk about how that was set up when you were in the machine that went in to get Dennis Quaid.
Yes, the machine. I have a phobia, it's called claustrophobic. Put me in small spaces, I get really edgy. They had me inside basically a coffin with 5 lights and 11.5 pounds of batteries. And the idea was I get in it and it's all hydraulic, it goes down into the floor, a cover goes across it, they do all this thing where the zippy zappy blappy thing, and I get shrunk into this tiny little thing, and then they let me out. Well, it didn't quite work like that, did it? They put me in the coffin with all the lights, with all the batteries, they did the hydraulic down, the cover over, then all the hydraulics stopped. I'm in a very small space with very hot lights and lots of batteries, thinking, headline, Australian actor, fried, in coffin, while filming. It was terrifying, to be blunt. And they couldn't get me out. And I could hear them talking, which I don't think they figured I could. And they're going, we've got to get him out in the next 10 minutes. If we don't, those batteries will overheat, then they'll explode, and there's going to be acid all over the place in there. Oh, great. I'm so happy now. Shit, I'm not just going to die because I get burnt to death. I'm going to get acid. So it was an interesting 20-odd minutes before they got everything working again. But yeah, I had a lot of fun doing that film. Worked with one of my favorite directors, and the funny thing about that was that at the exact time I was doing that at Warner Brothers, Mel Gibson was doing the first of his Lethal Weapon films at the same studio, and George Miller was directing The Witches of Eastwick, all at the same studio, and none of us ever saw each other. Not once. It was just ridiculous. We're all working in the same studio complex and we never saw each other. But yeah, I had a lot of fun doing that. I enjoyed it because when I originally got to do the part, there was dialogue for the character. And Steven Spielberg, who exactly produced the film, decided to take all the dialogue off me because I utilize what I say too well, according to him. And then he decided he'd take my eyes off me because I used them. And then he decided he would take my hands off me because I'm expressive with my hands and give me a fake arm. And then I got a little thing from him saying, act. I thought, this will be fun. I can't talk, I can't look, I can't use my hands. I guess I'll just be a statue. I'll be fine. But he used to say to me, whenever he saw me, he would say, your biggest problem is when you walk onto a scene, everybody looks at you. So we have to try to make you very small. That was why I became that big. But it didn't work. It was fun. I enjoy what I do.
So, what is it that makes you be able to play such a great villain?
Because I'm just a cold-hearted son of a bitch.
That's not true at all.
You know what? I think, seriously, I love acting, period. There's two sides to acting. Villains are wonderful to play simply because it's not you, unless you are some kind of raving lunatic. It's not who you are. You're portraying something that you can enjoy and put out there, and there are no boundaries. Villains don't have any boundaries because you're the villain. You're supposed to do things that people go, oh my God, did you see that? That's what the villain's supposed to do. If you're playing the hero, it's a whole different thing. There's all these rules and a set of boundaries that you have to stay within because you're the hero. And the hero has to be, nice. And also, it tends to be about 70% of who you are that goes up on that screen. And that is much more difficult to do than to play some raving lunatic with a gun in his hand that's threatening to kill some little old lady and then kick her dog to death. If you're the hero, you're actually playing who you are a lot of the time, and that is so much scarier to put on film because putting you on film is much more scary than putting on something that has nothing to do with you as an individual. So that's why I like playing villains. I get to have a lot of fun and it really ain't me. Except when I'm on the freeway. Then I turn into Wes or one of the others. Get a little carried away.
Now, Weird Science, we got a chance to talk to Michael Berryman and sort of how that whole scene came about. Now, you were so serious in that. How many takes did that take for, they were able to ad-lib, but you had to be so serious. What was that like on set?
That was funny, actually. That was the first Weird Science. Yeah, it was the first film I did here in America, I think, wasn't it? Yep, Weird Science was the first film I did in America. I was the new boy on the block. I was just amazed by everything. I mean, I came from a country where you shot a film with $2 and a lot of prayers. I walked onto the set and they had a full 2-story house built in the studio that came apart in 4 pieces. It took me a week to get over that. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. And then the thing that blew my mind was when they did the scene with the rocket coming up through the floor, they went and bought a rocket and to put it up through the floor, and I'm like, this is out of control. I love this. This is so cool. So for me it was really, really interesting to do, number one. I got to work with John Hughes, whom I thought was a wonderful, wonderful director. That was the reason I did the film. I really didn't want to set myself up. I didn't want to reprise the role of Wes. I was terrified that they would take the character and turn him into some idiot presentation, which I didn't want because the character was too strong in the film, Mad Max. So I really didn't want to do it, but when I was told that John Hughes was directing, I said I'd do the film, because I knew he would treat it with the respect that it should have, and he did. He was wonderful to work with, wonderful man. The cast was a lot of fun. I mean, for God's sake, we had Robert Downey Jr. in our cast, who went on to become big time. We had 2 or 3 other actors and actresses that all went on to bigger and better things from that film. So I thought it was just really, really fun to do, and I loved it.
Well, I just wanted to ask one more thing before we went to the audience. What are some of the newer projects that we can find you in coming up, Mr. Wells?
I have some films coming up. I have a great horror film which is called The Horde, which is coming out later this year, which a friend of mine was starring in it. He sent me the script and said, I'd love you to do my film, pick a role. So I picked these two lines that are in the script, and I said, I want to play that. And he went, you're kidding. And I said, no, I want to play that character. He said, it's an extra. No, I give up. I want to play that character. And he went, you realize I now have to rewrite the script, don't you? I have to actually write a character in there now. And I said, yeah, what's your point? Just go do it, because I want to play that character. So I got to play this totally, yeah. Watch the film, it's a lot of fun. That's coming out. Another film I did, which is a horror film as well, called The Inquisitor, where I get to play a 17th century Spanish conquistador. Yeah, an Australian conquistador. Who would have thought? But that's kind of fun too. I learned all the dialogue in Old Spanish. Every word of it. And it's really difficult, Old Spanish. Take my word for it, it's not like the new, it's very difficult to learn. And the guy that I played opposite, who played the Indian chief, couldn't learn it, so he wanted to do everything in English. So here I am after 3 weeks of sweating, having people teach me Castilian Spanish, saying, that's fine, we'll do it in English. What do I care, son of a bitch? But no, that one's coming out. And then there's, I did Mickey Rooney's last film, which is Jekyll and Hyde. I was fortunate enough to do that, which was amazing to be with him. And another one, which I'm very proud of, called The Lighthouse Keeper, which only has 3 people in the cast and is a ghost story. Damn it, now I'm giving away the whole film. Shit. No, seriously, that is a really, really cool movie that I'm really proud of, which will be coming out as well. So that's it.
Who in the audience has something they want to
No,
ask?
I'm not answering any questions. Screw it.
Never mind, he said, then screw you guys.
Joking.
Anybody else out there?
Anyone?
Anybody have a question?
They're afraid.
God.
Look what you've done.
I have the quietest audience.
There we go. This is the gentleman right here. He's
A
going to
man among women. I mean among men.
seeing you play Rancic in Power Rangers Time Force. I used to watch that show all the time when I was a kid. And I wanted to know, what was it like working with Kate Sheldon, who played your daughter on the show? It seemed like you two had pretty good chemistry with each other.
Yeah, we had really good Kate was really nice. She was great. Kate became the character. I mean, I think if Kate could have been that character in real life, she would have. She loved it. But she was a lot of fun to work with. We got on exceptionally well. And like the whole cast, we all got on really, really, really well. As I said, Erin Cahill, who was the Pink Ranger. People would ask me at conventions, they'd say, was the Pink Ranger your daughter from another mother? I go, no, because they loved the interplay that we had all through the series. They did this whole thing because Erin and I were such good friends that they had this thing going between her and my daughter and her and me, which was very adult, believe it or not, but the kids loved it. It's funny, that series was done on two levels. It was here, the kids would watch it and go, that's really cool. Their parents would watch it and go, oh my God, did you see what he just did? Two levels. It was fun. I had a very fine line to walk.
When you were growing up in Australia, which region of the country were you in, and how did you ultimately meet George Miller?
How did you meet George Miller?
Yeah.
How did I meet George Miller? I was doing a stage play, which I didn't want to do, by the way, once again. I seem to not want to do a lot of things. And I was doing a stage play which became extremely successful. It was a two-hander. If you know anything about stage, a two-hander means there's two people in the cast in the whole play. It was about a transvestite and her boyfriend. I played the boyfriend. I wasn't impressed because I figured everybody would think I was gay for the rest of my life. My auntie, until she died, thought I was, by the way. Played it too well. And George Miller's girlfriend saw the play. In Australia, they have what's called an industry night once a month, and that is that one play that's on will do a late 12 o'clock at night performance for everybody else that's doing different plays to come along and see it. So you get to see the shows that you wouldn't get to see because you're working. And Sandy Gore happened to come along and see the performance. And she rang George, because they were looking for someone to play Wes, and said, I found someone I think you should see. He's one of the only actors I've ever seen that has no fear. He is just a fearless, fearless actor. And I said to George when I was talking to him once, why was I so fearless? And he said, I think it had something to do with the fact that you walk on stage and within 5 minutes you're naked masturbating to the audience. And I went, oh yeah, that bit. It was a very difficult play for me to do, but through that, Sandy suggested George meet me. George flew down to Melbourne from Sydney. We went out and had coffee. Just like this, we talked, we told jokes, we just sort of did our thing, and he left. And I, serious to God, had no idea why I was having coffee with him. I had no idea who he was, and I didn't know he was doing the film. And when I was told by my management that it was George Miller who was the director of the new Mad Max, I hadn't even seen the first Mad Max. So I didn't know what Mad Max was. Mad Max in Australia, the original one, was not a big cult movie. It was a small movie that played at the drive-in with another movie. You know, it was sort of the opening feature, which most people didn't bother to come to see. You came to see the main feature. And I actually went to a screening and it was playing with Duel, Steven Spielberg's first film. And we got there in time to watch Duel, and didn't see Mad Max. So I had never seen it when I met George Miller. So that was the fun part of it. And he just decided that he wanted me to do the role. And that was the end of it. He persisted when I didn't think I could do it, which to this day, every time I see him, I thank him for making me do something I didn't want to do because it put me where I am.
All right, we have time for one more.
One more. Do we have a talk block with Latin? Oh, sorry. Wrong session.
I enjoyed your performance in Commando. I'm wondering the scene at the end when you're talking about the knife. Is that something you thought of, or is that something in the script?
You know, Commando was a fun movie in a lot of ways. One was that the director every day had a different idea of how the character should be, which was a little confusing, even for me. The stuff that I did with the knife all was I had to decide on a course the character would go, and I had to decide on how to best represent what was going on in his head. You have to remember, these guys all fought together, they were friends together, and it just disintegrated because I kill everybody at the start because I want to be Matrix. It's a mano thing. I think I'm better than he is. So the whole thing with the knife was there's a fine line between sanity and insanity. It's a line you walk very carefully, and the only way I could think of to show that, because the reality was that Bennett was teetering into the insane side of things with his obsession. It was an insane obsession of macho crap. And the only way I could figure out to try and make that work was to use the knife as a symbol. And by stroking the knife like it was sexual, and doing that whole thing with the knife, you know, welcome back, John, I'm so glad you could make it. Even though some people got the wrong idea to that, it wasn't supposed to be that at all. It was this obsessive thing of the knife became the symbol of what I was, the insanity that was overtaking me. And so I just sort of went with that myself. And it was funny, one reviewer had the great joy of saying, for the second major movie in a row, we've had the gay actor Vernon Wells portray a gay villain. I didn't know I was gay in Road Warrior, but what the hell, I didn't have any pants on. It's just, you know, seriously. Could you accept that Wes was gay? My God, you wouldn't have lived long enough. So yeah, it sort of, I never understood why they thought that character was gay. To me it was this mano a mano, macho, excuse the French, bullshit that he had to prove that was all that was there. That was all that was worth living for to him, and using the knife in that way was the only way I could find the symbolism to try to portray that. And he was gay.
Vernon, thank you very much for your time. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Vernon Wells.